The Rock, we salute you. You're watching the Get Busy Living podcast, and I'm the host, Dr. Scott Fox from Six Sense Acupuncture and the Healthy Habits Club. I'm a registered acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist, and guess what? We've got an awesome guest this week. Fantastic to see Candice Clarke. Appreciate your time, Candice, for coming on to the podcast, and thank you so much for your time. And can't wait to hear some gold nuggets of information.
It's such a pleasure to be here, Scott. Thanks for having me today. I'm very excited, actually, about our session today.
Me too. So I'll start off with my normal questions. So tell us, Candice, what gets you out of bed every morning?
Well, if you asked me a few years ago, Scott, I would have told you my very, very and cheeky fur baby Shadow. But genuinely, what usually gets me out of bed is that I love living my life. I genuinely believe that I have a beautiful life. I love waking up. I love knowing that I will be helping people every day in some small shape or form. So that is a driving force for me. Also, I do live in a beautiful part of the world in Brisbane. So you can't complain when you get up and you've got generally sunshine that wakes you up as well. So there are a lot of wonderful things that are happening in my world, in my life, and people around me. So lots of reasons to get out of bed every day.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's awesome that, you look after yourself, so then you can help the others around you as well. So thank you very much for helping the community and those that are in need of your services. So that goes to say that leads me to my next question.
Yes.
So I'll just go to your profile. So LinkedIn. So you're a coach and facilitator, career and leadership development, and team well-being. So tell us, how did you get into that? How did you get into coaching and career and leadership development?
Gosh, how much time do we have, Scott?
Well, that's right. That's why I asked that question, because it takes a while to explain.
It's probably been in the making for a little while. And something that has always driven me in my life is the ability to be able to help people and genuinely help them without the expectation of anything in return. So throughout my life, I have had many careers, and having gone through them, often those transitions on my own, it came to a point where I realized I've got a lot of lived experience, but I've also got a lot of professional experience behind me. And like a lot of people, there is this quest for what's my purpose in life? What am I doing in this world? That's been a journey for me for many, many years. And about 10 years ago, I made a big decision to go back to studies. And I went back and I did 4 years in psych, and finished up with the Masters of Social Work, which all felt very aligned with who I am, the values, and also the life that I wanted to live. And probably maybe about 4.5 years ago now, because Shadow is probably a pivotal point in what's brought me to where I am today. And when I shared the story with some people, they probably think that's a little bonkers. However, bear with me. So about 4 years ago, Shadow came into my world, and there was 2 humans in his life. And shortly after that, I had started going through a separation process that actually questioned everything that I was doing in my world. And I felt that there was something more that I wanted to do. So I took some time out from all the work that I was doing, and I started to explore really how can I help other people in a way that, one, allows me to live my life the way I would like to, also allows me to be home a little bit more often and have a bit more flexibility so that I could hang out with my fur baby.
Yeah.
But more than anything else, I had this really deep-seated desire to be able to bring all my lived experience, all my professional experience, skills, and qualifications to life in a way that I could help other people be the best that they can and help them to really live their lives on the terms that they're choosing to, which is how it led me to becoming a career and leadership coach. So you could say my dog was very instrumental in helping me think differently, truly helping me think differently. What is beyond what I was doing? I did love the work that I was doing. I was in the community sector for about 10 years, loved the space. So this way, it allows me to be across lots of different industries and help lots of different people in lots of different ways. That my focus is there is only one version of us. That's what I truly believe. And we've probably heard for many years, you leave your work at home, and then when you leave work, you leave your work at work.
Yeah.
I question the reality of that because it's very hard, no matter what, to switch off or continually compartmentalize and continually have to regulate. So there's these two parts of you. So
Yeah.
a lot of the work that I do is how do we bring our whole self to every situation?
Yeah.
So having gone through a separation, the silver lining is that it brought me to where I am today. Having shadow come into my world, another beautiful silver lining made me question how else can I live life to the fullest?
Yeah.
So sometimes through heartache, through tragedy, through really challenging circumstances in life, there is a different way to look at it as well. And I chose to look at it in a different light.
So, you're right. You go.
No, keep going.
So I'll just turn the turbines back a bit.
Yeah.
So, you did a psychiatry degree, is that right? Psychology. My apology.
Yeah.
Psychology degree, and did you go out and practice? Did you go out and help?
No, very early on in my psych degree, I actually realized it wasn't the pathway. The foundations of psychology were amazing for me. Loved everything I've learned in it. It helps me in the work that I do now. Absolutely. Did I want to be a psychologist? No, but I did want to help people. So the foundations of psychology has been instrumental for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that helped you as well to grow. Yeah. That helped you.
Beyond expectations. I think when you go into something like that, you don't realize what it could mean for you and your personal growth as well.
It's absolutely. And so what happened? Did you go into another field, another industry?
Yeah, so I started practicing as a counselor. That's where I started. So my psychology qualifications helped me with that. And I continue to practice as a counselor as well. But my focus is building business and growing the business in the space of career and leadership coaching. But psychology gave me the underpinnings. So I did 4 years of it. I was genuinely curious about where this could lead. And at the umpteenth hour, I decided I wanted something that gave me a little bit more breadth in how I could support people. And that was the beautiful part about social work. It is quite diverse.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I found a bit more alignment in the philosophies around social work and the social justice advocacy work is.
Absolutely. And how long did you do that for? Did you do it for a few years or?
So I completed 4 years at psych, 2 years of my master's in social work. So 6 years of study.
Study, yeah.
Yeah.
And how long did you do counselling for?
I still counsel through.
Okay, so it didn't stop.
It's a very small part of what I do at the moment, but a lot of the work has started to shift more to the career and the leadership coaching space. But
gotcha.
Full time, I was doing that probably for about a good 8 years.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and you learned a lot, obviously, from that.
Yes.
Within your own space as well. Yeah.
The mind is a beautiful place to be, Scott.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when it's healthy.
Especially when it's healthy, but it's also when it's not on power the way you'd like it as well.
Yeah, exactly right. And so that I see that you also do team well-being. So you help teams as well.
Yes.
So that's in the workplace or
Yeah, that's
whereabouts?
in the workplace. Absolutely. So again, when you think about careers, you think about leadership, when you think about us as individuals and we go into a workplace, most of the time we work with other people. So whether it's your
Yeah.
immediate team or whether it's an expanded team, you are still a part of an environment where you work in some concept of a team. Unless you work for yourself and you don't have any team members around you, then it's, but then you have, I look at it as you have your business associates or you have your network affiliates. So there's still people around us. So when we talk about team
Yeah.
well-being, it's a collective for me, for yourself, and how those around you operate at the best of their abilities.
So tell us about that. Tell us about how you would help teams um, gel and be more productive, because that's basically what you're helping them to do. Yeah.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so working with teams is looking at it at the foundational level of, in an organizational context, a lot of talk around psychological safety. If you were to strip that back, it really is about how do we lead ourselves first, looking after our well-being. So that comes back to, again, mental well-being, emotional well-being, your physical well-being, your social, your families. So there's so many different domains. So what I look at is what are the foundations of well-being that are important for an individual and equally important to help a team thrive, because we all are individualistic in the way we operate, but how do you bring all that together and help each other understand what gets the best out of them in the workplace? What are the supports that they might need? What are some of the self-care practices you would need to put into place to make sure you're taking care of yourself and each other? So those are some ways that I work with teams and building those self-leadership capabilities that we all have the potential for within us.
Absolutely. So tell us about that. Tell us about um, how you would change that mentality, especially in the workplace. Because I've worked in some really toxic workplaces, very toxic.
Yeah. It's a hard space sometimes when you think about mentality because there's so many factors that come into play. So the first step is awareness. Are the teams, are the leaders, is the organization, us as individuals, are we actually aware of what is actually happening and amiss? And if we are aware, is there an opportunity to actually do something about it? So sometimes we have the awareness, but like you said, when you work in an environment where there's a lot of toxicity and there's a lot of negativity, it makes it even harder to shift those perceptions. So bringing people together in a way that allows them to explore what is actually happening within their environment. And I don't always mean just their physical environment. I mean their mental environment as well. So mentally, if you think about our mind as a container in itself, what is happening there for us that allows us to behave, to speak, to communicate in certain ways? So bringing awareness to a team, and one of the ways I do this is through what's called a metadynamic profiling tool. It's a diagnostic tool that helps us get greater insight into
Say that
ourselves.
again. Say that again.
Was that a mouthful, Scott?
Yeah. I was like, what? I got the first word. Meta.
Meta Dynamics profiling tool. It's a profiling diagnostic tool that has been created by the Coaching Institute based on a lot of research and evidence. It is very different to your personality tools out there, your working profile tools out there. So this really looks at the heart of who we are mentally. And our thinking patterns and our natural thinking patterns influence the way we would normally behave. You still with me?
Yeah. I use disc profiling.
Yeah, beautiful. So disc profile often looks at the way we work in a workplace. This profile tool, the beauty of it is you can use it in any context. The context I generally use it in is for careers, leaderships, and team development as well. So getting a map of what's happening and how each individual behaves naturally, or their natural leading preferences to certain situations, is a starting point. So it's a starting point. So once you have an understanding of how the individuals and the teams operate, you are able to then understand what is it that they're also seeking. What are their strengths? What are their stretches? What are the gaps? And what are the areas you want to develop in? And just because we have some stretches and we have some gaps, I don't believe we have to lean into that all the time and go, oh yeah, I want to be amazing at everything. We don't need to be. We don't need to be perfect at everything. We don't need to be 100% all the time.
This is difficult, yeah? That's difficult because that's what we're taught from an early age.
Yeah.
But not only from our parents, but also from the education system.
There's a level of...
How do we break that chain?
If there was a magic pill for it, red or blue, I'd say take one of those. But there isn't.
Take them both.
They can both see what works.
Well, that'd be purple, wouldn't it, if it was both together?
Better at your colors than I am, that's for sure. Yeah, how do you break the cycle, Scott? That's a beautiful question, and that's a work in progress for a lot of people. People need to want to do this. Change and growth are choices. Change is inevitable, but growth is a choice. So you can either choose to change, you can choose to grow as things change, or you can choose not to. At the same time, if you choose not to, then a lot of the work is around accepting those choices as well and learning to make work with our choices. So it isn't about right or wrong. It's about learning to work with what do we have in our world. And if you're open enough to change, then get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I know what you're saying. It's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
This is a big problem because that's another issue that stems from what we were just talking about, and that's we are also taught not to make mistakes, and that it's easy. But making mistakes is the best thing to do because you learn from it better. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. So I would then question, when we talk about team well-being, what is the culture and mindset around mistakes? What is the culture and mindset around acknowledging that it's okay that we make mistakes? So what are the norms within a team will also help determine the team health and the team well-being.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that then you branch off from that, and then what would you implement to help change that?
So I would work with teams based on where they're at and what their needs are. So better understanding what their current situation is and ideally where they would like to be as a team, and creating a tailored program for teams, whether it's individual or whether it's for the entire team, and helping them work through that from a coaching perspective or from a workshop perspective, delivering something that is beneficial to everybody. Something that I am very big on is action. So no change happens without actually taking any action. So it's all well and good to say, yes, we want to change. Yes, we want to be better at this. Yes, we want to be able to understand each other and work more effectively. What are you willing to do to make that happen?
Yeah, that's a tough question. That's a tough question for a lot of people.
It is. It is, because there's so many variable factors.
Yeah.
Sometimes the environment of an organization doesn't always permit for change. But then there are a lot of organizations out there that are burning for change. So helping them on that transition and that journey is what I love doing most.
Okay. And what about Okay. This is I suppose you'd have to talk to the management, but I mean, I suppose if management's getting you to come in and talk to this team about this, they're pretty much on board anyway. But have you ever come across where the people upstairs are the ones that are filtering the bad, well, the undesirable workplace environment?
So if I'm interpreting that, am I understanding that you're asking from the top down, what is the culture that is being perpetuated?
Sometimes they can be and what I found is that a person like you would never ever be invited into that environment because they don't want to hear they've got a toxic workplace.
Sometimes, yeah. So there's different ways of looking at team change. You can look at your immediate team and you can want to grow that team and you can want to be the best leader within that team framework, and irrespective of what else is happening at the top levels of leadership. But ideally, if you want true change to take place and to be sustainable, it's the mindset of everybody in that organization that needs to shift. They all need to want to change, and they all need to want better employee experiences and safer workplaces. So it's about creating change that's actually sustainable and not a short-term fix. That's the work that I'm most passionate about, is creating sustainable change and helping people bring that about for themselves and the people around them.
Yeah, and another question is, do you work a lot with human resources as well within departments?
Most of the decision makers would be team leaders or team managers that I would work with. Yeah. So from a human resource perspective, it would depend on if they are looking to bring in somebody to do a program for somebody, for like their whole team, to bring in to deliver a workshop. Yeah. So it depends on, again, the hierarchy and the decision makers in the organization. Often a lot of work is with those individual teams.
And I thought you were going to continue with that.
Well, I can.
Yeah, so absolutely, because that is very important for a lot of businesses, especially medium-sized to large businesses. They've got multiple employees. This is the conundrum that they have to navigate, and this is where you can help as a third party, come in and help them navigate through that better workplace.
When they're aware that they need some support with change and they're ready to take that step, that's where I can come in, right? I'm not there to say, yes, you need to do this, or yes, you must do this. This is something that needs to be driven from the organization because they genuinely value their people and they're committed to making those changes because they want their staff to have good working experiences. When we spend majority of our work days in the office or with other people, and I think the word office is very interchangeable these days, given COVID and how it's changed how we work. If you think about that as well, we have more dispersed and fragmented teams because of that. So in my view, even more important that there is a culture of connection and safety.
So that's a follow-on question is, have you noticed that more and more of your clients are now like doing things through Zoom or WebEx or
online is the new norm, and it's been the new norm since COVID. A lot of people have embraced it, which is beautiful. It gives you the flexibility. It gives you the flexibility you need to. Sometimes the challenge comes from the disconnection. The more access we have to connection, it feels sometimes like we are more removed and disconnected. So in a team dynamics, when you have got dispersed teams, it's even more important to have those regular check-ins, those regular connections. And I ask the question often, how do you know when your teams are struggling if you're not seeing them on a daily basis? And that comes back to, are they speaking up? And if they're not, how do you navigate that as a leader?
It would be a nightmare from my point of view, because you'd have to monitor them. You'd have to put your systems in place to have that, to be able to monitor them.
Wouldn't go as far as Big Brother monitoring. However,
yeah, pretty much.
But having regular check-ins, creating an environment where the psychological safety of a team is trusted, that people can actually speak up and have those conversations and let their peers and the team leaders know that, hey, I'm actually not okay today, or this is what's happening in my world, and I'd love it if somebody could check in on me. How often do that happen?
And I must note, I have noticed over the last few years that a lot of people are moving up from Sydney and Melbourne because of that reason, because they can work remotely. They don't have to be in the office anymore. That's why we've got a living, a housing shortage, because they just can't build the houses fast enough because of the migration from down south. So you would have to had to adjust your business model, although you only started 4 years ago. I suppose is that what kicked you off as well, because of that reason?
Though it definitely wasn't the reason that kicked me off, but it certainly showed me that. So from a business perspective, I probably started a couple of years ago, but it's been in the workings for a little while. The work that I do predominantly is online to service people around Australia, and it makes it accessible. Of course, I am open to going into offices and doing in-face work, which I absolutely love as well. But the accessibility of being online makes people feel like they can access supports and services a lot more easily. So that reduces the barriers of access.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm trying to say is a lot of our HR rules, especially in Queensland, have changed because of those dynamics.
Yes.
Because I mean, how do you know if someone's, having a bad day when it's all remote?
It's a really great question, and these are some of the concepts or conversations that need to be had regularly. And for that to happen, there needs to be trust in a team. There needs to be trust amongst your peers to share that, there are certain things that are happening in your world and you need some support. So team well-being is built on trust and openness. And that can take time. And that has to be the mindset from everybody in the team, not just one or two people.
Absolutely. And it can spread very quickly too. I notice that, especially in large organizations, the mentality, whether it be negative or positive, can spread very fast, especially the more senior the person is. That can filter down very quickly. So you're right. Go.
No, go ahead.
So how do you pinpoint those, problems? How do you figure those out?
When you say the problems, are we talking about?
Not enough, not putting out enough work, or missing days, or something like that.
Good old-fashioned communication, Scott.
Yeah,
you have a conversation as a coach. You have a conversation with your clients to understand what is happening in their world.
Yeah,
because their context is really important. Their map of the world and what's happening in their life, they know that best. They live that. So as a coach, it's having those conversations with them. It's creating supports and systems that allow them to continue having those conversations. So part of having a healthy team culture is having regular conversations, whether they're difficult or otherwise. So it's creating a culture where you're normalizing conversations, whether it's giving somebody feedback, whether it's helping somebody navigate some challenges. It's doing it in a professional and kind way. But you create that as a norm. But that norm comes from trusting each other. That norm comes from understanding what individuals need, but also collectively, what do you need as a team? What are the steps?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So tell us about how you've helped a team have better outcomes, have better working outcomes. Testimonial. Give us a testimonial, please.
Give you a testimonial. Okay. Working with a team leader is a good starting point. So one of the clients that I have worked with probably a little while ago now was they were leading a team across, I think, 3 locations. And they were very committed and very passionate about supporting their team. And they did everything in their ability to be able to create an environment where their teams could thrive, where their teams could be open. The challenge they were facing was from probably senior leadership for them at that time in wanting to do something different for their teams. What brought about the biggest change was working together on supporting their own well-being and their own self-leadership capabilities. And this had come out at the back of them having a severe health issue due to stress. Yeah. So often I see this, not often, I take that back. There are a lot of times where on the back of stress or feeling close to burnout, or also just being in burnout and not recognizing it, or there has been a significant impact or change in their life that makes people reevaluate priorities. So a starting point with this particular client was stripping it all back to what do you need to take care of yourself so you can take care of your team. So the coaching we did together was focused on building them up again in their well-being capacity, learning to set healthier boundaries, learning to say no, which can be difficult sometimes when you are a giver. Learning to communicate openly with their team where they felt safe enough to share what was happening and help put in perspective the impact that the workplace had on their health. So through some of the coaching we were doing, that helped reshape how they approached working with their team and building their team culture from a different lens of well-being to start with, and normalizing the conversations around when we are not okay, we need to speak up. So from there onwards, they were able to start working with their team and have more regular check-ins. And the check-ins weren't about, hey, where are you at with this, with work? The check-in started to become more about what is happening for you today and how can I support you better? So it was a balance between well-being, a balance between productivity. And from what I hear, they were feeling a lot more connected. They were feeling a lot more supported and heard as well, because they had a space where they could share more openly.
And what do you think was the reason why they weren't communicating as well?
It wasn't the norm and it wasn't acceptable, because we go back to what I said earlier. There's your work self and there's your home self. So it wasn't normalized to have open conversations like this, because there was, from their perspective, it felt like there was an underlying tone or impression that if I was to share something that was impacting me, emotionally or my well-being was impacted, it was perceived as a weakness in their organization.
And hence why you had to go in.
It was, yeah. But
and you're right. You go.
working in the health space, Scott, you would understand the importance of our health and our well-being, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I always say, without our health, what have we got? How do we take care of ourselves? How do we take care of those around us?
Yeah, and I remember an old. He was a supervisor of mine. He said a true indication of how well your team is going or your business is the days that they have off. The people that are in your team, if they're having a lot of days off, that you've got a problem.
Yeah.
With your culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a clear sign that I see from a lot of clients that I work with individually, wanting to take those days off because they don't want to go back into the workplace.
Yeah, and so once again, I suspect you're just basically helping them to communicate better with those with the employee, with the team leader or manager.
Genuine, honest communication comes from being able to trust.
And that's a huge one. Do you think that diminishes, obviously, between employee and supervisor / manager?
It can. It can.
Yeah.
And it comes back again to what is the environment and the culture you have set up? What are the standards? What are the norms? What do you hold each other accountable for and yourselves accountable for? Okay, what are the values within your team as well? Are they shared values? Or do we say we have common values, but then we don't actually live those values? Or do you know when you're all living those values and recognizing the difference it makes? So that family environment is so important.
Yeah, and I was just going to bring that up. People's circumstances can change too.
Absolutely.
Case
in point here.
Yeah. So yeah, pregnancy is a big one, huh?
Yeah.
Especially for mums, especially for mothers to be, or mothers that have just recently had a child. Their priorities change completely, and I've seen this happen in the workplace before.
Yeah,
and they're reluctant to come back because their priorities because their priorities have changed. They were before they were for the business, and now they're like, family.
And as it should. It doesn't matter.
I agree. Absolutely. I agree.
But it shouldn't matter what our circumstances are, Scott, whether it's maternity or paternity, whether it's health, whatever the shifts that happens in an individual's life, how well equipped are organizations to support those changes in a healthy and sustainable way?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, so what would you say to those people that had a divorce, or what would you say to them about how they can change their, well, not so much change, but how they can balance that lifestyle change?
That's a tough one. Especially for people that are sole parents. That is a really, really tough one because they are juggling work, they're juggling children. Somewhere in between is the human themselves that seems to be put to the side. They may have parents that need support. They may have other commitments. If I was to share one strategy, I would say find one moment in your day where you can give yourself at least 5 minutes for your own self-care. Just one moment, 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be I have to go to a spa day. It doesn't have to be, I've got to go and hit the gym for 2 hours. If you can find 5 minutes every day to take care of your well-being, whether it's to sit and have a cuppa without interruptions, whether it's to do 5 minutes of deep focus breathing, whether it's to listen to some music and dance around like a silly goose, whatever takes your fancy. 5 minutes just for yourself every day. If you can practice that small movement every day, it will help regulate your nervous system. It will help give you 5 moments of quiet and calm where you are focused on you.
I say about 2 hours, but 5 minutes will do. I was going to say,
I say 5 minutes because I know a lot of the
it's a
clients
good
I have
start.
worked with, they don't
Yeah.
have 2 hours in the day, Scott. They just don't. So
Yeah,
start with something that's achievable.
no, I'm only kidding. I'm just kidding you.
Are
I
you
agree
sure?
with you.
I know some people
It-
that must be at the gym every day for an hour or two, and that's great if life affords you that. That is beautiful. Go for it. Knock yourself out.
Yeah,
But
but yeah, it's just like maintaining your weight.
yeah,
It's okay to say you lost the weight, but then you got to maintain it, and it's the same old story.
yeah,
It's that small step. 5 minutes a day of walking, for instance.
yep.
It
It's
only takes just getting in that routine, and I get what you're saying. It's all about the routine.
yeah. It's small actions every day that build up.
Yeah, a lot
You
of
have
people don't even think like walking for 5 minutes a day is achievable. But it can be achieved. You just got to get into the routine.
It can be, and sometimes getting started can be hard. So find a friend you can walk with for 5 minutes a day. I was going to say walk for 5 days. I mean, if you're an avid trekker and hiker, fabulous. That's living your life.
Absolutely, but that's the same. Yeah, you're talking about mental
Yeah.
health basically, and that's looking after yourself. Give yourself 5 minutes to yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's very important as well. Because yeah, my mentor says thinking is overrated.
Thinking without doing is a nice dream or a fantasy if you love to wander off into the fantasy world.
Absolutely. So tell us, give us a testimonial on how you've helped someone individually.
Right now, I'm working with a beautiful client, and this is in the career space. And they too have come out of a divorce recently, and they are looking at, what does the next chapter of my life look like? What does the next career chapter also look like? And when we started working together, there was a lot of self-doubt. There was very low confidence around, can I actually do this? Do I have the capabilities? And through the work, again, part of it is the coaching, but a lot of it is also them doing the work in between. So when I say coaching is one element. For things to actually move along, they have to do the work in between. So with this particular client, we have been working on getting them job ready. And we've been doing a lot of coaching around their mindset and helping them look at their skills, their experiences, what they have to offer in a different way. We went back to, what are your actual values? And when we did the values elicitation exercise, they were really surprised as to what showed up. Because often we find we set our values very early on in life. Life changes, and we may not pay enough attention to how have our values shifted along the way. So with this particular client, that values exercise really helped for them reshape how they look at where they apply their skills and their experience and what's the kind of work that actually lights them up. And a big component of that was to be able to be creative and expressive in the work that they do, which they didn't realize had such a big impact in the energy that they brought to the work that they did. So we're at the stage where they've been intentionally applying for roles that are based and aligned with their values and where they're at in life right now and where they see the next chapter, which is more meaningful for them. than applying for any and everything because there is this need for, I must get a job. And don't get me wrong, we all have different circumstances, and sometimes we must get a job because we need to get busy living. We can't live on love and fresh air. And if we could, fabulous, absolutely fabulous. But finances are important in life as well. But how beautiful would it be if you can align the work that you do and get remunerated for it? So the coaching we're doing right now is around getting them job ready, making sure that they've got the skills to be able to continue the work after our coaching together completes. They know how to look for jobs that are aligned with their values, with their interests, with their skills. They can make the self-assessments of themselves based on some tools that I've shared with them. So the coaching that I do is also very practical focused. And I'm very pleased to say that they have been invited to an interview for a job they're genuinely interested in. And that's been a huge shift for them, given where we started, when they weren't even sure if this was something that they were capable of, irrespective of the fact that they've been doing this for many, many years. So that small win for me in that mindset shift and the confidence they have is a win. When a client says, I'm feeling good about this, I'm like, go you.
So so what they were doing were they doing it for love, for nothing? They were like, it was volunteering. Is that what you mean in that industry?
No.
And
then they were actually getting paid for
this.
this.
You can make money for this.
Yeah, no. They were actually getting paid for the work that they were doing, that they had a change in their life. And that brought about a lot of doubt about, can I keep doing this? Is this really worth what I'm doing?
I see.
Can I see. Continue to get paid for it? But what shifted was the value of creativity. And how do I bring that into the workplace? So that's not just for love and fresh air. That's not just for volunteering.
No, that's right.
How do I bring that element into the work that I do?
Well, that comes back to what we're taught at school as well. We're taught to be logical, and but we're not taught to be creative. Only unless you ask for it, and it's only a small group normally.
And that's a gentle mindset as well.
Absolutely. But I mean but that's what we're taught. That's what we're advised to do, is to do your maths, do your English, and then that's it. Science.
Yep.
We're not taught. You can go out and you be a musician, or you can be a painter, or whatever it may be, as a creative. But that's not endorsed. You see what I'm saying? They don't throw a lot of money at it.
Yes.
It's not money at it.
It's not accepted that, I've got this beautiful creative part of my world and my being, that you take that into a workplace. Now I see that a lot more often. The creative world is booming. It's beautiful. But for people of a certain generation, that was not the norm for them. No. So it's so lovely to see that my client is embracing that part and using that value of creativity to drive the choices she's making.
Unless you got Prince that lives in your neighborhood, then did you hear about that story? When he was alive, he there's an area that he grew up in. He went and bought a heap of from a local music store, a heap of musical instruments, and he spent almost $100,000. And in those days, there was a fair bit of dough for instruments. And he donated it to the school that he went to, because he that's what he said. He said he was all anonymous. He didn't say who paid for it. They found out later who it was, but because he was of the opinion that children should have access to music, because it changed his life. It made him who he was.
Yeah.
So you've done well. We're pushing the 50-minute mark. So I'll move on to the last two questions. So tell us, who's your ideal client? Who's the client you want to help the most?
Oof. That's a question that I often ask myself, because at the heart of it all, I want to help everybody. But if I had to say, my ideal client would be somebody that is in a senior leadership position, that is open and receptive to wanting to be a better leader for themselves and for their team, and is committed to going through that journey of where they can shape the culture of their team and their environment, so that everybody can have better experiences in the workplace, so that we can leave work not feeling stressed and worried about, do I want to return tomorrow, or I've got so much work on my plate. So where they're able to create some balance for themselves and their teams. That's generally the people that I would love to work with them and with their teams.
Yeah. So basically it's team leaders that are open to having a better workplace. That's what you're saying. Yeah.
Nicely summarized.
Yeah. And okay, and that's awesome that you're helping those teams to turn their workplaces around, and those team leaders as well. So I'll move on to the last question. So what ideas or information would you give to provide lifelong longevity? I had to throw one health question.
Of course you did. Ask me the question again, please.
What ideas or information would you give to provide lifelong longevity?
If I had to summarize it succinctly, everything in moderation. Live your best life in moderation. Be active. That doesn't mean, like I said, hitting the gym for 2 hours a day. Be active 5 minutes every day. Consistency and small actions can make a huge difference. Stay connected with people in your world.
Yeah.
We are a society. Yeah.
Connections are very important.
Absolutely. So
because you're right. You go. Finish it off.
My philosophy around well-being is looking at it holistically, meaning you look at all the different domains of your life. And it's not about being hyper-focused on it. It's about being mindful on some of the areas that might need a little bit more of your energy than others. So finding that balance through moderation, through small actions and consistency can help promote better quality of life, can help with longevity, aging well, healthily.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Candice, for coming on. We appreciate your time. And because you didn't bag me too much, you didn't give me too much of a hard time.
I'll save that for offline, Scott.
I'm going to give you access to my my health club. So I've got a health club.
Beautiful.
It's got 9 modules in the bronze membership. You get that for free for 30 days. So I give information about EFT, emotional freedom technique, meditation, nutrition, exercise, roadblocks in your mind, disc profiling. You already know about that. Acupuncture and Chinese herbal medicine. I go into detail about that. And the 8 leading chronic diseases which are killing hundreds of thousands of Australians every year. And the numbers are getting
worse. Let's not end with that.
What's that?
So let's not end on that note. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, so it's more about educating the population around our health system. So yeah, this is an alternative, and I'll put it all on people write books. I just created a website with a health club.
Amazing, love it. We're looking forward to exploring it in a little bit more detail.
Appreciate it, and I would love to hear your feedback too, Candice, about the 9 modules.
Well, you know where I am. I'm always up for a coffee and chat, Scott. So
absolutely.
Happy to have a coffee and chat with you about this later as well. Thank you so much for having me today on your Get Busy Living podcast. It's been such a pleasure and delight to chat with you today.
So on that note, thank you so much, Candice, for coming in, and we appreciate your time. And you guys, you have a great day. You've been watching the Get Busy Living podcast. I'm Dr. Scott. Have a great day, guys.